Now I gotta ride or die.
So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be installing a new air filter into the 106. Now I had a lot of people when I bought this thing rinsing me for having a small air filter on it. It was like hot air filter in the engine bay. So the plan was to do an enclosed one all along. Just wanted to get other stuff out of the way, like actually painting it. But today we're going to rest everyone assured that doesn't like air filters in that position. As you guys can see, the air filter is incredibly high in the engine bay, obviously creating heat, blah blah blah. Anyway, today thankfully a subscriber came through, Tony, and actually dropped down this for the 106. Now it's a enclosed air filter. Now this is what people used to run way back in the day, and I remember fitting one years and years ago to a 106 GTI way back, probably at least 10 years ago now. So this is an old school sort of version of an enclosed air filter. Now I wanted to go for a couple of different ones. This one came up and I was really happy with it, but the main thing is it is actually sort of a fake carbon fiber look. Now I am going to change the color on this, so a little cheap mod today to actually bring this up to what I want it to look like. We're just going to black it out and make it look a little bit more subtle in the engine bay. Now this, obviously, one thing to point out, does actually come right round the front of the engine. So it sort of comes around here. Now, a lot of people may notice I'm not running a catch tank yet. It's still running into the top of the air filter throttle body bit there. So what we're going to do today is actually fit that. I'll know where to position my catch tank around here, and if I have to move the steering there, I've actually moved it over just to make sure I can actually get this in here today. But if needs be, I will be relocating the battery, but it's all trial and error here more than anything. As you can see, all of these lines, this is blocked off at the moment. It's going back into that bit, but this will all change once that is in the car. We know exactly how this is going to work with this part of it, and then we know if we need to keep this here or move it along a little bit, and then we'll know if I need my catch tank to go here or where the battery is. So again, this is a learning curve for me. If you want to learn with me, that's cool. If you want to rinse me in the comments about not knowing what to do to a 106 GTI, that's cool as well. Don't worry about it. I'm just out here trying to learn and document everything I do. It is a learning process when you buy certain different cars, because this obviously isn't the same as my Audi or my X6 or various other cars we've had on the channel. So I'm going to take all of this apart today. Just make sure all of the ducting and that sits well, it's not rubbing on the manifold or anything like that, and actually paint up air filter casing, so the enclosed casing around the air filter, just to darken it a little bit more and just make it fit in with the engine bay. Now, because this is very close to the engine, obviously, what I've actually gone for, and whether this works or not is another matter. It might be a cheap way to actually spray plastics in your engine bay, or it could all go wrong and all fall off. We will find out. But I got some of this relatively cheap stuff off eBay. It's an engine enamel black, so it's actually high temperature glossy black paint. Didn't want to go for just some generic black paint because obviously it will just fall off, or it will start to heat up and fall off anyway. Basically, this thing sits so close to the manifold, it is a slight worry for me. So I want to make sure that this stuff goes on right and dries nicely, and then we'll put it to the test. End of the day, if I buy this and it doesn't work for me, then I can tell you guys it doesn't work for me, and then you don't have to waste your time or your money on it. So learning curves all round. But yeah, we'll try and scotch the actual air filter casing down. We'll start throwing this on. Real disclaimer as usual, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I'm just having a play around with some cheap paint off eBay and a second-hand closed air intake for a 106 GTI. So, taking this off, we've only got a couple of bolts. I actually have some new black ones on the way that I want to put around this when the time comes. As you can see, the inside is black and looks good, so very happy with that. That can be scotched up and everything. That is the inside of this, so again, very easy and simple sort of system for this, and then we'll black this bit out. Now usually you wouldn't actually see this part on the car, it will be sort of underneath where the air filter is, just next to the manifold, but I still want to do it just to make sure it's all blacked out. So we'll start scotching it down and then see how good this high temperature paint is. Right, so first coat down, and I will again come in with the actual product that I've bought, this stuff, which is engine, no it's not focusing, engine enamel gloss black, so high temperature paint, quick drying for engine blocks and cylinder heads. So this is the first coat. I've literally gone over it very, very lightly, and my god, does it come out not necessarily thick, but it covers so well, and the actual color black comes out so quickly on it. So this is literally one coat. I can still see a couple of blemishes where you can still see just under the lighter parts, sort of there, if you guys can just about see it, the actual sort of slight carbon fake weave that's on this. That is the first coat. I will try and do about 3 or 4 coats. I think that'd be enough protection for the paint, but we will see. But yeah, as coverage goes and how quickly it comes out and how quickly it dries, very, very impressive product. So, air filter, old air filter is out. I'm assuming this is the original piping at the bottom, so I am going to keep that. Probably won't be keeping this, I haven't even got a name on it, I don't think. This generic air filter should make a huge difference just to the looks of the engine bay. But yeah, performance-wise, it should actually sort of change the way this thing reacts, because obviously if it's enclosed and going down to the front of the car, it should actually force more cold air into the engine bay. Good times. So left these for a fair few hours. It's towards the end of the day now. Really happy with the coverage on this stuff. So yeah, I would definitely say if you're after anything in the engine bay, I would go for that paint. Obviously the longevity, we'll see how good it is in the long run, but pretty happy. This is the bottom part. What I'm going to do, I'll take it over to the car and actually start to assemble it. I've actually moved the power steering fluid holder thingy just over to the side there, so we'll reattach that in a second, but I'm just going to start to put this in, see if we can make something of this. So just double checking that the bonnet actually closes after doing this, but it's not finished, but I'm really happy with how that's come out. The gloss black looks really good. It is dirty, I haven't cleaned it at all. My hands are completely covered in grease and stuff. Couple of things to point out if you were to do this on a 106, just learning as I go, taking the dipstick out, one thing, it does fit, but it sort of doesn't fit at the same time. Unfortunately, the main thing to point out is that the actual bottom of the airbox bit goes underneath this between the radiator, and I know there'll be someone on there saying, oh, you've put it in wrong, but that's as far as I can get it down and in without this actually going any more forward because of this. I could cut this out, which I might do in the future, but again, got no cutting tools or anything here, just literally want to put this in so I know in the future if I do need to take it out, which I will, because there's a lot of other stuff we ought to be doing on this engine bay. So maybe cut this bit out, push it forward a little bit, that would work. Relocating this battery would be key. It does hit here, so that's something I'll be doing, is relocating that into the boot maybe, or getting a smaller battery, but I do use this every day, so one of those things. But yeah, not finished whatsoever. Do need to run these other lines as well into the catch tank, or maybe into the breathers that are on here. Might blank all them off and still do the catch tank, not too sure yet, but still very, very happy with how that came out. This paint, going to put it to the test, going to see how good it is, see if it marks easily as well. Again, I do need to clean it up and stuff, but we'll see if this actually stands the test of time. We'll get the other, I've got a couple of bolts down there and a couple of bolts over there just to put in to this before my other black bolt set comes. But as a little DIY for a couple of hours in a gym that has nobody in it, it's actually come out really, really good. Pretty happy with how that looks. It looks a lot better than what it looked like with the little stubby one as well. I've actually used a bit of the silicone that was in the back of this as well. I cut it to size and actually used it. So I will be replacing that, I think, as well, maybe with some more hard piping or just a better Samco hose or something like that. But again, at least I've got a general gist as to what I need to buy, like another one of these or a blanket off or whatever. But this is more just to understand how this engine bay works and if stuff fits. Again, aftermarket stuff never fits the way you want it to. So yeah, still very, very happy. I want all of the engine bay bits to be this gloss black. I think it would look really good, but definitely the contrast between that small stubby air filter with the original piping at the top into this. It looks so much better, and of course it will actually trap more cold air going into the front of the car and help performance, maybe 1-2 brake horsepower more. We shall see once we do a lot more stuff to this engine. I will say now that there is a lot that I'm going to do to this engine. I do want to do the water pump, cam belt. I do want to put a set of cams in it just to increase performance, and I need to change gaskets and stuff. That's the next thing. Really getting this engine open and just starting to go through it, because I want this to run. And as I've spent so much time on the bodywork, wheels and all that, this is the next step, is really going in on this engine bay, changing many bits, and maybe performance enhancing a few bits. I don't want to turbo it, I don't want to do throttle bodies or anything, because I already have bigger, faster, exciting builds in that sense. I want to keep this thing NA as possible, maybe with a set of cams. But as usual guys, if there's anything that you have for this car, anything kicking about, I'm more than happy to chat about buying it off you. I'm always looking to buy stuff from subscribers. That's one of the things I love doing. It's actually buying stuff for my project cars or cars that are on the channel from subscribers. So if there is anything, please hit me up, JamieFYD on Instagram and all that sort of stuff. So thank you so much for watching. Little DIY there. I will update you guys on how good this paint is. It might be crap, it might be really good, it might be something you could buy, or it might be something to avoid. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.